Hey there, YouTube. Heir of Carthage, coming to you from the desolate, arid cliffs of Napoleon Total War. I'm playing as the French. I play as the French a lot, but to be honest, it's because they're pretty dang good. And the game's Napoleon Total War, so why not celebrate? Anyway, here's some Polish Guard Lancers that I'm using. They're moving up. I'm kind of botching my army movement, to be honest. I'm trying to micromanage a lot of things at once, and the only complaint I have against my opponent in this particular game is that he was lagging really, really bad. But other than that, he played extremely well, and you'll see that. So my army is a Polish Guard Lancer, a Dutch Guard Lancer, and I believe 2 units of Chevaux de Guerre Lancer. I have 4 units of Polish Legion, and I have 4 units of Swiss Foot. Here let's see, these are my Polish Guard Lancers. They shredded that unit of Austrian cavalry. I believe my opponent had a couple of units of Uhlans, some Hussars. Yeah, anyway, here's my cavalry basically making mince work of his. His cavalry's alright, but because I have the guard units, mine's definitely going to be more effective. So there you go. It's quite a fight. Let's zoom off that fight for a minute and take a look at my opponent's army. He has, I believe, 7 units of German Fusilier, a couple units of Jaegers, and some Grenzers. Here's his general. It's Karl Schwarzenberg. Then he has 2 units of these 7-inch howitzer, or 7-pound howitzers, sorry. And then over here he's got a 1st Regiment of the Emperor's Own. And he's put his units into square, anticipating my cavalry flying back down the hill. And that was a pretty smart move, and because as soon as I destroy his cavalry, that's precisely what I'm going to do. I'm going to fly back down the hill. But I must give my opponent credit, even though the game was lagging really bad, he micromanaged his troops well. As you can see here, he manages to get back into squares at the last second. Although here I do kill a number of the Austrian troops. There you can see him getting launched back onto the rocks. But immediately I also pull my horsemen out, but they're going to take some pretty severe casualties for being that near to squares. So now that I've destroyed my opponent's cavalry, I need to hurry and rush my chasseurs into position. I have 4 units of them, and I'm going to do this in order to try and gun down my opponent's fusilier while they're in square. But my chasseurs are very tired from running up the hill, and they're going to be exhausted soon. But here I tore a good chunk out of some of his fusilier. Over on this end, his unit of Emperor's, his 1st Regiment of Emperor's Own, I charged them with the remnants of my cavalry, knowing that I'm most likely going to lose them, but it will stop his flanking movement long enough for me to get infantry into place. So here's my cavalry fighting his Emperor's Own, and eventually they will rout. Now, I do have a pretty big advantage at this point, but my opponent's making a smart move here. He's pulling back, and he's using his Jaegers and Grenzers to cover. Very smart move, and my opponent knows that he has 2 units of howitzers, and he also knows that my units are now extremely tired, because I was counting on a quick rush victory. And if I continue to rush forward, which I kind of have to, then he's going to be able to gun my tired men down. But if I don't push forward, he's going to be able to sit back and blast the snots out of me with his howitzers. My only unit of artillery is located right here in the woods. It's a unit of artillerie au cheval. And eventually I'm going to reposition them. So you can see my chasseurs have moved up kind of as a meat shield, and they're absorbing lots of fire from the Austrian line and light infantry.
The men are fatigued.
Alright, there you can see his howitzer pounding in on my men. Let's get a close-up on the battle here. Some of my chasseurs actually make it into position without being routed instantly, but they're not going to last too long here as they're under some heavy, heavy fire. But they're going to be able to get some shots off and do me some good. As you can see, there's another unit of my chasseurs. They're broken, very tired. This unit's also very tired, but right now they're holding their ground. And that's good, I need them to. There you can see his howitzer just blasted a bunch of my men.
Alright,
so I finally knocked out his unit of Emperor's Own. well, actually I say that, they lasted forever, which is really annoying. In the battle I was kind of frustrated at how long they lasted against overwhelming odds, but I guess that's why they called them the Emperor's Own. They fought bravely till the end, and I think they actually rout finally here in a minute. So now you can see my dilemma. I can either sit back and get pounded by artillery fire, or I can push my men into this gap and fight. And personally, I don't feel like sitting back and being waylaid by howitzer fire. But I'm firing into my opponent's Jaegers, and so my damage is going to be minimal. He's got a nice setup right now, but what I am going to do is I've moved my line infantry on the cliffs to outflank his left flank, and I'm going to rupture his left flank, and then as soon as I do, I'm going to push through as quickly as I can with my right flank. If not, if I don't do this quickly, then my center is going to be destroyed. So this is absolutely a critical moment in the battle here, as I have to beat these German Fusilier in order to make a hole for my men. As you can see, that's happening rather quickly. This unit holds out for quite a long time, and their morale is amazing for a unit who's just absolutely getting blasted from every side. That's probably because the enemy general's nearby. You can see the enemy howitzer is working quite a number on my men, so that's why I'm in such a hurry. Alright, here's the Austrian line that's well intact, and then as you can see up here, my line is being pounded by artillery, light infantry, and I mean, I'm under a severe amount of fire. It's fortunate that I've brought such good troops, like the Swiss and Polish Legion. If I hadn't brought them, my men would have routed already. So I have to give it to my opponent. He played extremely well here. His tactical retreat was well timed. But now he's in trouble, as I have broken through on his... I've broken through on his left flank with my right flank, so he's definitely in trouble. And he's using his artillery to try and rectify that, but it's kind of too late. My men are here, and they're in position, and all of my regrouped chasseurs, I'm just running them in like a bunch of dummies, and this is hopefully in order to, I guess, just distract his men and keep them from firing for a moment. And seeing me breaking through, my opponent's going to pull back. That's fine. I want him to pull back, because if he pulls back, it gives me a chance to reposition and get my men a little more spread out. And so that's exactly what I'm doing. As soon as he starts to pull back, I start to scoot up. And I've been using my general this whole time to try and inspire my men. But as you can see, my opponent still has pretty good position on me. And my chasseurs are doing exactly what I wanted them to here, and that's to get shot at, so my lawn infantry does not. But as you can see, my center is extremely weak. And they're still under fire by light infantry and line infantry. So I have a very bad dilemma in the center. On this flank, I'm doing pretty good. I've got these units pretty worn out. This unit of Grenzers is doing quite well, but the line infantry is not. But my opponent isn't doing so well on his left flank. I'm breaking through. Here I've meleeed some of his German Fusilier, and I figured that my Swiss foot would make short work of them. And I can't remember. Yeah, I think they do make short work of this unit. I think it's the next unit where my men are just so worn out that they get killed. Now I'm getting sick of his artillery wailing on my men, and I'm going to take a desperate measure in order to do something about it. Yeah, there goes that unit of German Fusilier, and now I'm going to run this unit of Swiss foot on up and attack this next unit in the flank. My opponent's firing at my cannons. Fortunately, he does little damage. So here comes my desperate attempt. My general, Marshal Ney, has charged in on his artillery, and I must silence his artillery, because if I don't, he's just going to blast a hole through me. I should have done this a long time ago. Here comes his general, Karl Schwarzenberg, that countercharges mine. And he had an Inspire left, and so he inspired his troops in the area. And the fight is not going well for my general. Here's my opponent's general right here. Doesn't look so happy. But I do manage to get his artillery off the field here. And I also managed to do some more damage to his troops here as I rush in and melee. He tries to pull back again, and I start chasing him, thinking that my best option now is to kind of throw down the hammer before he has a chance to regroup, and I'm hoping that my superior line infantry can beat his in a melee. Here I actually catch his Jaegers, and they won't be any match for my men in melee. I routed 2 of his units on this side, and now I've got to get rid of his Hungarian, I think it was Hungarian Fusilier there, yeah, but they pull into square right when I was melee charging, so I have to pull back and reform my line infantry. And I'm not sure where my general's at. Yeah, here he is. My general is getting beat up bad, so I got to run him out of the battle right now. And I run him through these Austrian line, the Czech regiment, just trying to get my general out alive. But stupidly, I ran him in right next to that square, and that square is going to shoot. I can't even see my general. He's in the trees somewhere, hiding in the trees. Here he is. Anyway, he gets countercharged again by the Austrian general, and my general dies somewhere right around here. There he goes. There went Marshal Ney. Died bravely on the field. Did all he could to lead his troops to victory. Alright, so my opponent is now at the advantage. A bunch of my troops routed. It's very bad for me. But my 2 units on my left flank are in the fight, and they continue to do quite a bit of damage to these Hungarian Fusiliers, and I was going to bring my cannons clear down here, and I do go ahead and start to unlimber them, but I'm going to fast forward you and show you what happens here in the end of this fight. Fast forward. Yeah, you can see my opponent's trying to pull back, and I had chased him a ways and decided that was foolish, and that I should probably come reposition my troops back up on this hill. So here we come. I'm going to run all my troops back up here on the hill. My opponent sees me doing that and doesn't want me to get away with it. So he is going to chase back up the hill, but what he doesn't know is that I'm setting up my cannons on canister shot. So let's watch what happens. So here he's chasing my Polish Legion, which is exhausted, and here I hit his men with canister shot and musket fire, and his Hungarian Fusilier there just get badly beat up in that chase up the hill, and so my opponent is once again going to pull back, and I'm going to retask my cannons to fire on his general here in just a moment. I hope I actually have time to get all this video up. I think I should. Fast forward. Yeah, okay, here we go. I decide to use my cannons to take pot shots at his general. You just saw that guy get absolutely creamed, and I was really hoping that I'd get his general here. My artillery's not that accurate. It's nothing funnier than watching guys get taken off their horse by cannonballs. But unfortunately, Karl Schwarzenberg makes it away. I'm not able to stop him here. So let's fast forward once again to the end point. So now it says that I have the advantage, and that is probably true, since I have canister shot, and I have 2 pretty large units of line in good position. But you can see my opponent is trying to run around my flank. And I was thinking that probably between this unit of Polish Legion and my cannon, I could hold that line, so I go ahead and move my my other Polish Legion up here to meet the onslaught of his German Fusilier. And here comes the end of the match here. My opponent's troops are rushing up the hill in a desperate attempt to engage me, and his general is going to attempt to charge down my cannons. So my opponent, this is his last desperate attempt. He cannot sit back because I will blast him to death with my cannons. But this is also very risky, and he knows it. His first unit routes, and his second unit continues their charge up the hill, and so I go into a square in order to get a melee bonus. Here comes his general. His general charges into my cannons right when they were refiring, and I was like, come on, fire, fire, kill him. And so I believe my cannons do get him. Here we go, his general routes, and there we go. He gets blasted point blank with my shrapnel shot. So the Austrians at this point have lost the battle, lost the will to fight. I must say, extremely good game to my opponent. Boy, that one really came down to the wire. I thought it was an interesting battle. It went from rush to retreat, and then retreat again for me until we got to the set point. You can see my opponent got more kills than me, played extremely well. You can see his name there. Good game to him. Hope you enjoyed this.